and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to Alive, Manchester United new show. 3 wins in a row, a fantastic win versus Fulham yesterday. Not an easy game, and we have to give a lot of credit to Fulham. What a wonderful footballing side they are, and how well coached they are. And actually, across the last 8 games, Fulham were second in the league for form. They have been a very good side, and it was never going to be an easy game. And I thought that we had bottled a 2-0 lead, something we see Manchester United do time and time again. But this team comes up with late winners, and that is fantastic to see. And while we will talk about that game, today is transfer deadline day. Do I expect Manchester United to do anything this transfer deadline day? No. Do I expect Carrick to be left empty-handed? Yes. But the conversations going on from journalists is Man United could potentially make a late midfielder move on deadline day if a name they like becomes available. I don't think it's going to happen. We're going to talk about the names that potentially United could move for. It's said that it's likely to be a quiet deadline day for United. It's been said that it's likely to be a quiet deadline day for United, but they're keeping an eye on a few midfielders and could make a few late moves. Now, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, you know what? If you can get a decent loan deal for a backup to Casemiro, that would be great, because when Casemiro comes off and Agate comes on, we fall apart. We saw it in the Fulham game. Casemiro comes off, we fall apart. I think I showed you, I don't know if you guys watched my video yesterday where I showed you some stats on Casemiro, but we need some serious backup to Casemiro. Let me show you this stat in itself in regards to Casemiro here. But we need some serious backup. Manchester United have conceded 18 goals with Casemiro on in playing 1,546 minutes. We've also conceded 18 goals when Casemiro hasn't been on the pitch in 614 minutes. Our goal difference with Casemiro on the pitch is plus 15. Our goal difference without Casemiro on the pitch is minus 18. The fact that we've conceded the same amount of goals with Casemiro on and off the pitch, despite Casemiro playing 900 more minutes on the pitch than off it this season, says it all. And I do think, every time we take off Casemiro for Agate, we are shocking. And I do think that that's something that United need to look at and go, should we just bring in someone on loan that we think could potentially do a better job than Agate if Casemiro is to come off? And this isn't actually me having a go at Agate. I've said it many times again. I think Agate's best games for Man United have been when he's played next to Casemiro. And I think Agate seems to be more comfortable further up the pitch. If I was going to be completely honest with you. And I think Agate is a good backup to Mano. I mean, I say a good backup to Mano. They're completely different players with completely different strengths and weaknesses. But I think Agate is, I just think it is a fear. Now, the problem is, it has been said that United are expected to be quiet on deadline day, but they've not ruled out moving late for a midfielder. Now, if I am Manchester United, one midfielder I do look at is someone maybe like Lucien Gomez. It looks like we're not going to get Ballet, but it looks like that's going to wait till the summer. Joel Gomez is unlikely to be able to go now. I look at, can you bring in a Mark Casado on loan? I wouldn't want him on a permanent, but do you want to try bring him on a loan, see how he does? Do you want to try and make a move for Lucien Gomez? The argument is, if Casemiro doesn't get injured and we bring in a midfielder on loan, we're never going to use that midfielder on loan. Unless that midfielder on loan is really effing good, and that's probably not going to be the case. The thing is, if Bruno, Casemiro and Mano stay fit and they do not pick up one injury between them, we're probably fine. But if Casemiro gets injured and we miss out on top 4 because we'll fall apart when Casemiro is injured, we will look at Ineos and say, well, you had the whole January window knowing that you're relying on Casemiro to stay fit. I mean, that is the one thing. That is the one big blow. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about the news. And as Alex said, fair play for Casemiro turning it around, improving his fitness has been massive for him. 100%. Casemiro looked finished. And like Jamie Carragher, when he said leave the football before the football leaves you, a lot of people agree with Jamie Carragher at the time. I thought that the comment was harsh, but I said Casemiro just kind of looked a bit finished. But Casemiro didn't moan and complain like Garnacho. Casemiro, a 5-time Champions League winner, sitting on the bench, seeing Man United play average football under Amorim, he doesn't moan and complain. He gets into the shape of his life and he comes into that side. So fair play to Casemiro. Alice, I'm late. Who are we bidding for? Well, we might not bid for anyone, but there's talk that United could make a late bid for a midfielder if they feel an opportunity arises on deadline day. Then Jacobs himself actually said that on deadline day, names get mentioned that were never mentioned before. So there could be a surprise name that maybe United even potentially look at deadline day or the day before deadline day. The last 2-3 days of the window, players that haven't been linked to moves, all of a sudden there's talk about them. So there could be some talk about United. I know that we did have a look at Luciano Gomez, and there was some links coming out of Spain that United had interest in Luciano Gomez, and I want to talk about Luciano Gomez as a potential option. But I don't think United's interest in Luciano Gomez is strong. It's come out from kind of unreliable Spanish reports that we want to make a move for a Gomez. Arsenal have also been linked to him because Marino's injured. Arsenal have been linked to Tonali as well. But there has been a bit of talk of Luciano Gomez, and obviously he's a very physically imposing defensive midfielder, and he's very defensively secure. And I think what United need is someone that's very defensively secure, that's very physically imposing, and can retain the ball under pressure. And that is exactly what a Gomez has. And I think that's kind of what we probably look at in a Casemiro backup. If Casemiro was to get injured, do you want a Guarded to come in, or would you want a Gomez? However, there's a feeling that Sevilla would not sell a Gomez in January. And there's a feeling that United's interest in Gomez was kind of, no one really knows if they are that interested. It was a few Spanish sources linking us to the player. But he has been pretty good for Sevilla. In his last 4 games, his touches per match is 65. His passes into final third per match are 9. His tackles per match are 4. His recoveries per match are 6. His defensive contributions per match are 7. His ground duel ones per match are 4. His aerial duels 1 per match are 3. His ground duel win percentage is 50%, and his aerial duel win percentage is 65%. And he only gets dispossessed about once per game. He's played in 3 different formations as a lone DM and as a right centre mid in a midfield 3. He's played as an 8. He's played as a 6. If I'm Man United, I go put 25 million bid on a Gomez. If I'm Man United, I go, you know what? We should be okay. We've only got 14 games between now and the end of the season. 14 games in 4 months. We should be fine. But we want to get Champions League. We need to get Champions League. Why don't we put a little bit on a Gomez? And people will say, but we're going to go for Baleba and Anderson. Yes, that doesn't change the fact. A Gomez for me is the Agati replacement. We get rid of Agati and some of that's the Agati replacement. We need 2 top players to replace Casemiro, and we need an Agati replacement. We need 3 midfielders. A Gomez for me is that 3rd midfielder. But I don't think United are seriously going to make any move for a Gomez. I don't expect it to happen. But I think he is the most sensible Baleba alternative out there. And considering, as we know, that Man United, by reliable sources, Man United at the beginning of January did inquire about Baleba's availability right at the beginning of January, which shows there's some interest there in a midfielder. Gomez is that alternative, but maybe United is so confident about getting Baleba in the summer that they don't maybe feel a need to go for a Gomez now or do anything now. Alice, do you think we were good yesterday? I don't think we were. I think we had good moments, and I think there was parts of the game where we were good, but I thought the last half an hour we were not great. I think once we went 2-0 up and made the subs, I think we were very poor the last 20, I mean, you'd say 30 minutes with the 10 minutes of added time. We were very poor the last half an hour, but I think when we went 2-0 up, we had done enough to be leading. I don't think Fulham had tested us loads by the time we'd gone 2-0 up. I don't think Fulham had controlled bits of the game. I think Man United, for the most part, were the better team in the first half, but I think Fulham grew into the first half and controlled the game, and we gave the ball away a little bit at times. But I thought for the most part, we were in a good place for most of the first half. I think we started the second half okay, scored the second goal, made the subs, and Fulham took control of the game. I think if I was to review the game overall, good moments, bad moments, mixed performance, lost control at times, but got control back at times, had some decent patterns of play and decent moments in the game. Considering how well coached Fulham are and how good they've been, you take it, it's not an easy game. I mean, that's probably the way I'd look at it. Feel for Newcastle if Tonali does leave. If the rumours are true, Newcastle are most likely to Europa or Conference. The Tonali to Arsenal rumours come from Florian Plettenberg, and already about 6 or 7 sources have dismissed that it's true. I think it came from Florian Plettenberg. The Arsenal going for Tonali rumours have already been dismissed, and it's been confirmed as not happening. So I think Romano has confirmed that Tonali will not be on the move. I think all tier 1 sources have kind of confirmed this rumour of Tonali going to Arsenal is not true. I think Tonali would be an unreal bit of business for Arsenal on deadline day. And Arsenal are exploring a move, but the deal is not easy to do. And a few reliable sources have said, yeah, it's probably not going to happen. Maybe I wouldn't be shocked if Arsenal did ask for Tonali. He's kind of the Arteta signing that Arteta would want. But I can't see it happening. And Ben Jacobs said Arsenal haven't made contact with Tonali. So despite what reports in Germany saying Arsenal have made contact with Tonali, British and good sources have said Arsenal haven't made contact with Tonali. So I don't see Tonali going to I don't see Tonali going to Arsenal, but that would be a huge blow for Newcastle if true. This wouldn't shock me. Man United, this is when we get a report. This is what we get. Deadline day. Manchester United make move for Brighton midfielder on deadline day. Everyone's like, oh my God, Baleba. Oh my God, Baleba. And then we sign James Milner. Imagine, we get reports saying we're making a move for Brighton midfielder. And everyone gets hyped up. And it's James Milner. Oh, that would be the worst. I'm wasting my breath. I probably am. I'm just here to report all the news and stories. Look, I'm going to be honest. I don't think Man United are going to make a move today. I don't think Man United are going to do anything today. The title of this video is, is Man United going to make a late deadline day midfielder move, midfielder bid? Who would it be if we do make a deal? We're going to talk about that. But will Carrick be left empty-handed? And I think Carrick will be left empty-handed. But I do think we just need Casemiro to stay fit and we're fine. But if he doesn't stay fit, we're in trouble. Still think Sesko's better than Voltemada. That goal he scored yesterday, something Højlund could never do. That composure in front of goal from Sesko. I mean, look, Sesko's probably in a better run of form than Voltemada, but Voltemada's got zero service. I think Voltemada, as an all-round player, has a lot more attributes than Sesko, but as a finisher, I think Sesko is better at finishing. I think it depends on the kind of striker you want, but I think Sesko over the last month has been better. Doing nothing, also a risk. Injuries unpredictable and need to take advantage of weaker league in this advantage of weaker teams in this weaker league this term. Sorry. Doing nothing's a risk. Injuries unpredictable. We need to take advantage of weaker league this term. I agree. This is probably the weakest the Premier League big clubs have been. Like, the fact that we are above Liverpool and Chelsea is actually nuts. Newcastle are struggling. Tottenham are struggling. Liverpool are struggling and Chelsea are struggling. Villa are starting to fall off. Man City don't look particularly great. Arsenal are going to win the league and the top teams don't look great. This is a really good opportunity to get top four and actually get a Champions League finish. I feel like it's the best opportunity we've had in a while to get maybe top four and a Champions League finish with how weak the other sides are. And I think if we do nothing in January and we miss out on Champions League by 1 point and someone like Casemiro picks up an injury and that was what derailed us right at the end of the season, we will look at this and go, why did we do nothing in January? City was shocking in that second half. Can't believe Rodri's complaining about fouls when this guy gets away with about 50 yellow card tackles a game. Yeah. The fans were in clown masks at the protest yesterday. Yeah, big up to all the Manchester United fans at the anti-Glazer protest yesterday. Even though we're winning, let's not let us distract from the fact that those parasites need to go. I think the fact that we've won 3 games in a row and we sat Ruben Amorim has been such a distraction from the January window. Like, I feel like I'm one of the only people calling out right now saying we've done nothing in January. We keep putting PR story out. Like today, they briefed Manchester United that they will be looking at midfield opportunities today but aren't expected to do anything. Man United are briefing today that they're looking at midfield opportunities. Do I believe Man United are looking at midfield opportunities? Probably not. I reckon Manchester United, Wilcox, Vivel, I reckon all of them have probably had the day off, are probably chilling, are probably relaxing, but told the media we're looking at midfielders right now. We need to remember there's so much PR, there's so much spin, and we've won 3 games, and Amorim's been sacked, and vibes are good, and everyone at Man United is happy. So this is perfect for Ineos because nobody's questioning the fact that, where's the January business? Nobody's questioning the fact they haven't moved for a midfielder in January. And some people will say, but to be fair to the malice, there's no point bringing in the wrong player. I agree. There's no point bringing in someone that isn't good enough. I agree. We've only got 14 games in the season. I agree. But we just need that extra body in case there's an injury, because that could be the difference between Champions League football or not. And I think that these stories that we might be looking at someone if the right opportunity comes out for the last week, this secret midfielder story 2 weeks ago, I think these stories that are getting fed to us that Ineos are looking at midfielders right now today is all a little bit of a PR to distract us from the fact that we're not doing nothing. But we'll wait till the window closes and then everyone can complain that we did nothing. And Carrick's won 3 games. I think if Carrick had lost those 3 games, I think we would have done something in the window. Now, I'm glad that Carrick's won those 3 games. If someone said to me, Carrick wins those 3 games and we do nothing in the window, or Carrick loses a game and we do something in the window, of course we're going to take Carrick winning the games all day long. It's been a fantastic few weeks as a Manchester United fan since Ruben Amorim's left, winning games under Carrick. The mood is absolutely up. But I think it can distract people from the fact that the ownership model is not good enough at this club. The lack of ambition at this club is worrying. And at Manchester United, yes, we went for Semenyo. Yes, we were willing to do 65 million move for Semenyo. But we had that 65 million. Could we have pushed elsewhere? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Manchester United don't need to do anything this January because we've got 14 games to the end of the season and they can save that 65 million they had ready for Semenyo to go and bring in 2 elite midfielders in the summer, and maybe bring in a midfielder in January would have stopped us getting one of those midfielders in the summer. Maybe this is smart play, but we will only know at the end of the season. If we get Champions League football, we'll say, you know what, maybe Ineos made the right call because we've got a lot more to spend in the summer and build upon this squad. Casemiro's going. We know that not only do we need to replace Casemiro, but we need to find in the top level backup as well. We need 2 midfielders that can fill Casemiro's boots. And if Bruno Fernandes goes in the summer on top of Casemiro, that's 2 of our leaders, that's 2 of our most important players. That is catastrophic. For me, if we get top 4, I think Bruno will stay. But if we don't get top 4, I think Bruno is out of here. And that, again, worries me. And there's so much riding on top 4, from finances to how much we can spend in the summer to the next stage of our rebuild to attracting players like Elliot Anderson, but also being able to keep players like Bruno Fernandes could be dependent on top 4. And for me, if we get top 4, I'm not going to be complaining about the January transfer window anymore. But I do think there's a lot of stories that are being fed to us and spin. I do think if we miss out on top 4, it could cost us. But if we get top 4, maybe we're in the right place. Should United move for Tonali? No, because Tonali's not going anywhere, despite the Arsenal rumours. I'm not that bothered about getting rid of Wilcox. You know, Wilcox had a fallout of Amarin, got Amarin sacked because of ego issues. Amarin should have been sacked for performances and playing nearly every player at position. But Amarin wasn't sacked for that. Amarin was sacked because he fell out with Wilcox and Wilcox's ego. But if someone said to me, you get rid of Wilcox or you get rid of Ratcliffe or you get rid of the Glazers, I would get rid of the Glazers first, I'd get rid of Ratcliffe second, and I'd get rid of Wilcox third. Don't really trust Wilcox, don't think he's up to the job, but he's not the first name I'd get rid of. We lost intensity when we took the lead. Also, when Mbeumo was subbed off, we missed his pressing and presence. I agree. I'm frustrated with Ineos and the Glazers. We desperately need a midfielder. Man United are broke. We had 65 million to spend on Semenyo, though. Smash the like button. Big up Gaz. Big up everybody in the chat. I'm just scrolling down. Alice, does the Dorgu injury worry you? It's annoying that Dorgu's got injured. It's annoying that Dorgu's got injured when he was playing really good football, and of course the injuries are going to annoy me. But I think when you've got someone like Cunha that can come in, it's not the end of the world, but it's frustrating. Sesko would benefit increasing his energy and intensity as a good striker of the ball. He needs more shots. I agree. Look, Sesko has some really promising attributes, but I do think he could up his intensity at times as well. What did you think about the fight with João Pedro, Cucurella and Adama Traoré? I thought it was quite funny. João Pedro shat himself when Adama Traoré was about to come at him. I thought the funniest bit was actually when Tobido lost his head. Even a loan or someone on the cheap could have done it. Yeah. I mean, look, I don't want to bring in a Loftus cheap for the bringing in the sake of someone, but I reckon there's a decent 6 out there like Marc Casado that Barcelona aren't using that you could just loan in. And look, you might not play and it might be the most pointless loan deal ever, but he's there in case Casemiro gets injured and he's better than Agate. Just scrolling through. Alice, it's funny how rivals are still rattled by United winning 3 in a row. Like, Arsenal fans will hate watching us because like we rattled them by winning 3 games in a row, which is nuts. 83 points is still on. You're going to owe us £100. Look, if we win every game and we get 83 points and we win the league, I'll be giving out £100 to 10 different people on this channel. I tell you this now. I'd love us to win the league. Clownios, all owners are clowns. And look, we've won 3 games in a row. That is great. You know, and maybe we don't need anyone. Maybe we will get top 4 this season. But the fact that we didn't sign a midfielder in the summer was a disgrace, and I called that out in August. We need a midfielder now. We need a midfielder in the summer. The fact that we didn't get one in the summer when we had money ready for Baleba and didn't even look at an alternative is a disgrace. We decided to go 1 year without addressing the big midfield issue is a disgrace. I don't care if we get top 4. I don't care that Carrick's won a load of games in a row. We still need to put negative attention on the ownership, because the ownership is a problem. Their lack of ambition will hold United back. We might get top 4 this year, but next year could be an awful season. Next year could be a completely awful season if we get the transfer window wrong and we don't show much ambition, because replacing Casemiro is going to be difficult. Replacing Bruno Fernandes is going to be near impossible. But let's talk about the news and stories. So as I mentioned earlier, it's expected to be a quiet day transfer-wise. It was said by a source probably briefed by the club that United have prioritised a midfield refresh this year with 2 additions expected. Man United are expected to bring in 2 big midfield names. One to replace Casemiro, one to replace Agate. We probably need a third name for depth there because Agate is expected to leave. That case remains on deadline day, and while they expect to address the issue at the end of the season, they could make a move for a midfielder today if an appropriate target suddenly becomes available at an attractive price. So Man United keep putting out that if a midfield target that we like comes available at a decent price, we'll move. If all of a sudden Newcastle said to Arsenal today, you can have Tonali for 60 million, I do think that Manchester United would go and make a 60 million move for Tonali. That's not going to happen. Newcastle are not going to make Tonali go anywhere. You know, I think if something surprised happened, like Tonali's available for 60 million, I think we would try and challenge Arsenal for that. So I think what Rich Fay is saying is correct, but I think the chances of someone coming available for Manchester United to make a late move for is unlikely. Maybe United make a late bid for a player. Maybe a player does come available. Maybe a Mark Gassido, maybe a Luciano Gomez, and United say, you know what, let's get that Casemiro back up in just in case we could be in trouble. Maybe we do. Maybe we do make a late bid. You know, there is talk of Man United making a late bid for someone in the window. You know, the Man United could make a midfield move today, a late bid today. If an appropriate target becomes available at the right price, we could make a late move and bid today. But I don't expect it to happen, and it's not really expected to happen in terms of today. I don't think anything will happen, and United still view it as unlikely to do any business at senior level, with Michael Carrick expected to not be backed and left empty-handed. Big up to everybody in the chat. I hope you enjoyed today's live stream. Sander Berge on loan. I don't think Fulham would loan out one of their better players. I like Sander Berge, and I think when we were linked to Sander Berge, you know, it wasn't the most inspiring target in the world, but a lot of people were fuming were linked to Sander Berge, and I was like, guys, he's actually all right. And we're seeing that for Fulham this season. I think he's a solid player. You know, I wasn't against Sander Berge when we were linked to him, and actually he's proven to be better than Agate. You know, we were linked to Agate and Sander Berge. Sander Berge was our Agate alternative, and Sander Berge is looking like the better of the two. There was a report that United tried to hijack the deal of Jeremy Jacquet to Liverpool. That again was said by Florian Plettenberg. He's taken a lot of L's today. But Romano said there was 0 hijack attempts from Man United to sign Jeremy Jacquet ahead of Liverpool. So Liverpool has signed Jeremy Jacquet for 60 million euros. He's going to join Liverpool in the summer. He's an incredible young centre-back, and Liverpool went toe-to-toe with Chelsea for the player. Now, Liverpool have signed the player, he's chosen Liverpool, and all of a sudden, some people in the media want to make a few clicks off this story, so they come out and say, oh, but Man United wanted this player. Man United tried to sign this player. So the Liverpool fans will read that and go, ha ha ha, we beat Man United to this player. But the truth is, we never went for Jacquet. Romano's confirmed that. Man United made no attempt to sign Jeremy Jacquet. We had scouted Jacquet, we had looked at Jacquet, he plays with Lenny Euro for France under 21s. But Manchester United don't need to go and drop 60 million on a centre-back. We don't need to drop 60 million on a centre-back. Manchester United need to drop 200 million on 3 midfielders and make sure 2 of those midfielders are elite. Manchester United need to drop 50 million on a left winger, maybe ever think about left back as well. But we've got Amas, we've got Leon, we've got Shaw, will probably stay another season, and we've got Dorgu that can play there. And then Man United might go, well, you know, we need maybe another centre-back for depth because Leitcher and De Ligt are injury-prone. Maguire could go, Heaven and Euro inexperience. But that midfielder for depth could be a 30 million player. We don't need to spend 60 million on it. We've got Euro and Heaven for the future. If Man United are to bring in another centre-back, it needs to be experienced. We've got De Ligt and Leitcher as our starters, Euro and Heaven for the future. Maguire's here, but he could go at the end of the season. But apparently one of the reasons we haven't given Maguire a contract is we think the fact that him not having a contract yet is motivating him to perform very well. I think if we were to bring in someone, it's a 20, 30 million experience level centre-back that can come in and do the job. I don't think we need another young centre-back with Heaven and Euro. And if we do go for a young centre-back, I like the like of Mukayoko. So I think maybe we're just throwing Manchester United's name in there for clicks. We have a lot of centre-back depth, especially when De Ligt heals up. And I think now that we play a back 4, our centre-back depth is decent. Leitcher, Maguire, Martinez, Heaven and Euro. That's 5 good centre-backs. Worst case scenario, Luke Shaw can play centre-back if we had Dorgu fit. For me, we need to spend 200 million on 3 elite midfielders, 50 million on a left winger, and we maybe then look at bringing in a left-back and centre-back for depth. There's talk about Senesi being 3. I mean, he's all right player, but I don't think he's anything special. But I think if it's we spend all the money on midfield and a left winger, it's better to bring in someone like Senesi on a 3 for depth than do nothing at all. I agree. We need 8 players in total, but if we can sign 5, I'd be happy with that. 3 midfielders, left winger, and someone that can either play left back or centre back. I'd be happy with that. We can't do it all in one window, but long term we probably need more. But it's a long term process. Yeah, I mean, Senesi on a 3 is not. I'm not completely against it. You know, I'm not completely against it at all for depth. I just think there's better options out there. It's like Chelsea got Tosin on a 3, but actually he's not been great. But depth option. I feel like Euro go rum drib one day. I think he's got that potential, but he's not playing at the moment. I think Lenny Euro is probably quite aware that he's not playing because, one, he's 19 and it's not normal for a 19-year-old to start at centre-back for Man United week in, week out. 2, because he's not been in his best form. But 3, we've got 1 game a week. I think Lenny Euro is very aware of the fact that he's not playing many minutes this season, but we have 1 game a week. It's unlikely that he's going to get many minutes this season. I think he knows next season will be his sort of chance. He's young. I think he's fine with it. He's not had the best season. It is what it is. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get 8 signings. I think 5 is probably the most realistic. Euro and Heaven could be class in the future. I think both of them have got ridiculously high ceilings. And I think Euro's not had the best start to the season, but I think some of his little cameos where he's come off the bench, he's done a solid job. Yeah, Romano shutting down the rumours pretty quickly. I think people just using Man United for clicks there. A lot of the rumours coming out today, Romano was there shutting it down. Should we see what the latest Manchester United news and stories are coming out today? Let's have a look. Should we see if any stories have come out in the last half an hour while I've been live? I doubt it. I doubt anything's going to happen. I mean, we could make a late bid. The talk is, basically, if you've just joined, Manchester United might make a late bid for a midfielder. We don't know who that midfielder would be. We just discussed a few names that it could be. We might do something. If someone becomes available, we might make a surprise late bid. But there's a very strong chance United will do nothing. The belief is United are going to do nothing and Carrick will be left empty-handed. The belief is United won't be busy. It has, news. Tyrone Malacia is on his way to Istanbul when Jason Wilcox suddenly called him back. So Tyrone Malacia was on his way to Istanbul and Wilcox has called him back. So maybe that's because Dorgu's injured as cover. Who knows? The word coming out of Man United is it's unlikely that Carrick will get anything in, but Man United will not rule anything out yet and will not rule out making a late bid. But Tyrone Malacia was on his way to Turkey and Man United recalled him back. Is there another injury? Is that because we're not expected to do anything? Is that for depth? But Tyrone Malacia has been told he cannot fly to Turkey. So that's interesting there. Senesi's not all right. He's the only centre-back with most assists for his line-breaking pass is as good as not Leach's. Senesi's very good on the ball, but off the ball, there's potential areas where he's a liability. Senesi is good as a depth option. Senesi on a free as a Maguire replacement, I'm all for that. But Senesi as a week in, week out starter, I think there's better options out there. I like Senesi. I think he's a good passer, but Bournemouth haven't been good defensively. On the ball, fantastic. Bournemouth haven't been good defensively. And to be fair to Senesi, a lot of it isn't his fault. He's been their better player. But that just concerns me a little bit. PR and spin in overdrive on transfer deadline day. I think that's what it is. I think those at Man United, I think those on the Man United hierarchy having a holiday today, doing nothing but telling journalists, if a good midfielder arrives, if a good midfielder comes on the market, we'll make a bid. I think Man United are doing nothing. I think Man United know they're going to do nothing, but they've briefed to the media. If a good midfielder comes on the market, we'll make a deadline day bid. We won't rule anything out, but but it's unlikely. But, they're just letting people know we will make a bid if someone comes available. You're making a bid if someone comes available. What you should be doing is making bids for players that you don't think are available and seeing if maybe testing the waters, making a late bid. Agome, Tonali, could something happen there? That's what we need to do. We need to make bids. Baleba, 70 million bid, see what Brighton do. Tonali, 60 million bid, see what Newcastle do. I don't think those players would move, but, make a bid. Agome, 25 million bid, see what Sevilla do. That's what Man United should be doing. But instead, we're doing F4, saying if someone becomes available, we might make a bid. So we may make a bid late. We're not ruling anything out, but we're probably not going to do anything. And I think a lot of it is PR and spin. Swap Xerxes for Coney at Roma. I mean, I'm very open to that. I'm very open to swapping Xerxes for Coney at Roma. I think we've got a lot of strikers. I don't think Xerxes is going to get me minutes. I like Xerxes, don't get me wrong. But Manu Kone is one of the only midfielders outside the Premier League that I'm pretty comfortable could do a job at Man United. I'm pretty comfortable that he could do a job at Manchester United. I think he could do a job in the Premier League. I think Manu Kone is an incredible player. So if someone says swap Xerxes for Kone, I would do that. Maybe United look at that. But Roma, about halfway through the window, went and brought in another attacker. So Roma don't really need Xerxes anymore. But we should have probably explored that at the beginning of the window when Roma were desperate for Xerxes. Anyway, big up everybody. Thank you for watching today's live show. I'm going to wrap it up here. I don't expect anything to happen, but maybe there'll be a late bid. If we do make a late bid or a late move, I will be live or there will be a video out. So make sure you're subscribed with post notifications on if you want an update, because if we get any big news like a sale, a loan, a signing, a bid, I will be back. I will be back. If not, you'll see me tonight with a bit of a rant talking about other news and stories. But big up Michael Carrick, big up Manchester United. Thank you for watching. Bye.